Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see some familiar faces. So we're going to tell you the story of Millennial Lithium. We'll start with our key success factors. We think that you need to have these advantages in place for any mining project to become successful. And we've done quite a bit of work on this project in the last couple of years. As you can see, we've already confirmed a very large resource. About a month ago, we actually doubled our M&I resource to about 4.1 million tons and another 800,000 tons of inferred. This is a lithium brine project, obviously, in Argentina. I'll talk about the location shortly. We have finished the PEA on this project, so it's a very robust economics. We're currently working on the bankable feasibility study, which should be completed by the middle of the year. In addition to that, we think that we have two other major advantages here. One is, of course, the mining jurisdiction. It is in Salta province of Argentina, one of the probably top mining jurisdictions, not only in Argentina, but in the entire South American region. We have a very strong corporate and technical teams. We'll talk about the backgrounds momentarily, but we've done this before. We have also a very strong lithium brine team in place. And we've been on time and under budget with all our milestones. So we think that it will keep with that plan going forward as well, and we'll be able to take this project to the next level. So just a few pictures. This is what it looks like on the surface. This is our solar evaporation ponds. These are pilot ponds. The white part is not snow. This is not Canada. This is the northwestern Argentina. So this is all salt. So that is salt plains. A few words about ourselves. Alex Langer is here, our senior VP as well. Myself, president and CEO. My background is basically taking projects like this to the point where we can either put them in production or have a successful M&A exit. Our last few projects were in lithium as well as in potash and even in uranium. Our technical team is very strong, led by Ian Scarr. Ian has been based in Salta City for the last 10 years, has worked on two major lithium brine projects in Argentina. So right guy to run our operations. He's a geologist by training. British by birth, grew up in California, but has been living in Salta for the last 10 years. Then on each part of our processing, we got top-notch experts. So on the evaporation ponds, we got Peter Aaron. He's probably one of the top guys on evaporation pond design and management. And then Vijay Mehta on the processing side. Vijay used to work for FMC, one of the large Argentinian lithium producers, for many years. So he's considered one of the processing gurus in the industry. A few words about the demand. This is from SQM. There are quite a few demand forecasts out there, but no matter how you slice it, you will see that the demand forecast or demand picture is quite robust. The worst case scenario is about 550 to 600,000 tons per year. Some of the other rosy picture forecasts are call for about 1 million tons and above. But if you look at how much we produced last year, the entire world produced only about 260,000 tons of lithium. That means that even if we take the worst case scenario of about 600,000 tons in about 7 years from now, we're talking about doubling that demand. So quite a bit of supply needs to come online to meet that type of demand. This is where we are. This is, again, to give you an idea, 3,800 meters above the sea level. It's high elevation in the Puna province, or Puna region of Argentina. The province is called Salta. As you can see here, I don't think I can point here, but basically, as you can see from the map, Salta City is about 220 kilometers from our project. This is probably the nearest project to Salta City. Very easy to get in and out. Most of the road is well paved. Basically, it's a highway. You can drive up to about 120 kilometers per hour. Even the gravel road is well maintained, wide gravel roads. These are not donkey roads. So FMC uses parts of this gravel road actually to transport their product. In terms of other infrastructure elements, gas pipelines, electricity grid, they're all within about 50-kilometer radius as well. And as you can see, this is smack in the middle of Lithium Triangle. We got SQM and Albemarle on the Chilean side of the border. We got Orocobre and FMC to the south on the Argentinian side. A few words about our brine chemistry. Now, when you look at lithium brines, you have to look at the entire brine chemistry, not only the lithium grade and the resource size, but also other elements within the brine, your flow rate, etc. Our brine chemistry is actually within the parameters, within the range that makes it amenable to conventional evaporation process. When I say conventional evaporation process, this is the process of production process that has been proven by SQM and Albemarle for the last 25 years, and most recently by Orocobre in Argentina as well. And I'll talk about the whole process momentarily, but just to go through this, We got 4.1 million, again, tons of measured and indicated category, and another 800,000 tons of inferred. Lithium grade, average grade is about 428, but to the south of the property where we're going to start our initial production, the grade is much higher. It's about 500 ppm. All other ratios of impurities, such as magnesium, sulfate, calcium, boron, etc., they're all, again, within the range, which makes it possible for us to use conventional evaporation process. Now, the reason I'm emphasizing is that if any of these elements is out of whack, meaning that it actually is not within that range, that means that you have to either come up with a new technology or introduce a new either approach or methodology that obviously increases your technical risk substantially. And hence, the financeability of the project becomes an issue. Right after the initial maiden resource update, we came up with a preliminary economic assessment. We engaged Worley Parsons out of their Santiago's Chile office to do this for us. This was based on, again, solar evaporation processing, producing 25,000 tons of lithium carbonate per year. And as you can see, the numbers are very robust. CapEx $410 million, including $60 million in contingencies. OPEX is one of the lowest in the world, about $3,200 per ton. And this is for 25 years of mine life. Now, obviously, as I said, this was about a year and a half ago. This was based on our maiden resource, which was half of our resource today. So that will either end up being, leading to a larger production rate or potentially longer mine life, or both. So a few pictures. This is our solar power plant. So this is very unique. We actually installed hybrid solar power plant there. Its primary source is solar and diesel being backup. So it will be generating about 250 kilowatt power. But if this works for us, then we will actually look into scaling this up during the full construction and operation. And again, a few pictures. This is a liming plant. We will be using lime to basically remove magnesium from the brine, and the construction pictures there as well. This is our pilot plant that is under construction. And we've got a little video here that will give you a very good idea about, so how do I actually activate the video? Perfect, thanks. So this will give you a good idea as to what it looks like on surface, how we build this, the evaporation ponds, what we're doing there, where we are and so forth. And I will comment as we go through this video. It's very short, it's about 2 minutes. No volume? No sound? Okay, that's all right. Just dramatic music, that's all, it's all right. It's much better with some sound. But basically, these are some drilling operations that we have now. We're going to show you the construction of evaporation ponds momentarily. These are massive evaporation ponds, basically. Right now, they're much smaller. These are pilot level, you will see. But once we start producing 25,000 tons a year, we'll need an area of about 12 square kilometers for all these ponds. This is a solar power plant that you saw the picture of. And this is the footprint before we started construction, and these are liners that go into these ponds. As you can see, there are two major ponds. The big one is for salt. The other one is for potash, and I'll explain after the video. These are already filled with brine, so they're operating, so evaporation is happening. All these elements are sinking to the bottom. As you can see, the color changes, and when the brine comes up to the surface first, it's a greenish color, and as it becomes more concentrated in lithium, it changes color to blue. This is our camp, which will accommodate about 70 people. And that's another important thing. We do have fresh water supply right under our feet there, so we've done quite a bit of hydrogeological work, so we don't have to tap into any rivers or anything like that. And this is the pilot plant that is under construction as well. So I have only a minute here, so I will just finish with that video. But basically later on it shows you the community center that we're building for the The village that is also called Pastos Grandes is about 12 kilometers away. We have very good relations with the community. Just briefly on the process, as you can see, basically you pump the brine to the surface, you put them in these massive solar evaporation ponds. Two elements actually drop to the bottom of the ponds that precipitate the potash and salt. You can produce potash, as you can see from here. SQM, which is a large lithium producer, is also a large potash producer. The ratio of potash to lithium is 4:1. So basically for each ton of lithium, we can produce 4 tons of potash. But right now, none of the potash sales are included in our economics. So this is envisioned as a pure lithium project at this point. So once you have potash and salt out of the brine, obviously water evaporates, so you get much smaller volume of water as well. You push this brine through your processing plant, whereas you basically remove the rest of impurities. The ones that I mentioned are major ones: magnesium sulfate, boron, and calcium. And then in this case, we're actually planning to produce lithium carbonate product of battery grade, 99.5%. But we could also produce hydroxide down the road. But that's not the plan at this point. So if everything works well, basically by the end of the year, by the middle of the year, we'll finish the feasibility study. By the end of the year, we should get all the permits in place. And by the same time, we're planning to secure all the funding to start construction early next year. And that will take us to the middle of 2021 for the production of first batch. We have engaged Credit Suisse to help us with financing. So we've been advancing all our offtake and other discussions. And just one other thing, I mean, we don't have that slide here, but we're very well funded as well. We got about $45 million in the bank, Canadian dollars. So we have more than enough to basically finish all these programs, and we'll still have quite a bit of cash left after that, meaning that by the end of the year. The management still owns about 20% of the company. And the second largest shareholder is a company called GCL, which is a large solar power company out of China. And we've got probably another half a dozen different funds out of Europe and Canada who own about another 20-25% of the stock. The rest is obviously widely held, but we trade in Toronto, but also actively trade in Frankfurt. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, please come and see me. Thanks.